of you daughters and sons who have wasted any time hating, loathing, cursing, or crying over your father who sucked. I want to do a little guided visualization with you in hopes that it will open a doorway to healing your heart. Because we have such a short jaunt on this earth, and I don't believe in giving free rent in my head or my heart to unforgiveness or hatred, and I hope you won't either. I want to take you back to the first thing we did today, which was feeling into your body and getting in touch with your breath. I want you to breathe and hold and recognize where you feel anything in your body when you think about your dad. And maybe it's not your dad. It could be your mom. It could just be someone who you have some unforgiveness around. But we're focusing on dads today. And I want you to imagine that for one moment, you get to be inside his head and his body. And while you're there inside, you're not going to project your own beliefs and biases about him. Like if you think he never cared for you or never tried, you're going to leave all that at the door. And instead, we're going to work on shifting your perspective. And as you shift your lens, you're going to see an entirely different side of life for this guy. You're going to sit in his body and you're going to see things differently than you've ever seen them before. So take a breath and close your eyes. Take a deep breath, hold it, let it go. And can you imagine in this body, if he is you and you are assessing the situation, can you imagine what suffering, what pain, what trauma, and what grief might have been going on in his own life? What if he experienced sexual abuse from an adult as a child, but never was brave enough to talk about it? What if he was verbally abused and told he was worthless in his life long before you were even a thought? What if he had demons of addiction that you were never privy to? Can you imagine what it might feel like to know that you brought life into the world that shares your very DNA, and yet you have no capacity to show up and love in the way that you know that child deserves to be loved? Can you connect with the amount of guilt or shame he must feel when he walks through the grocery store and sees a dad holding his little girl's hand as she smiles and giggles, knowing he will never get that moment? Can you imagine the sadness he feels when he sees a friend walking their daughter down the aisle, knowing that he is going to miss out or has already missed out on such an honor? Can you imagine what it feels like for him to lay in bed at night and cry alone, wondering how he ever allowed himself to miss any of these precious moments and milestones? Can you imagine what it might feel like for him to judge himself so much harsher for being a shitty dad than you ever could and live with that regret until the day he dies? Breathe in, hold for 3, breathe out and let it go. And take a few more breaths. Sit with what probably it feels like to be him. I want you to look beyond the facade, and there you will find a shell of a human being who probably missed out on the most important and meaningful calling of his life, which is to be a loving, caring, protecting dad who keeps his kids both emotionally and physically safe. And when you've felt enough, I want you to step out of his body and back into your body with one last deep breath. Hold it, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. I hope that compassion is starting to make its way into your heart. I hope that perspective gives you a shift that you need to move from any of your own grief into reflection. I hope that you'll kick out those thoughts that lead to feelings that lead to anger and pain around someone who wasn't or isn't in a place to love you like a father should love his child. And if fatherhood is your calling, then I hope you will love with the biggest capacity that a father can, and that you will reap all of the fruits of your labor of love. And with that, if you want to get in touch with us, and if you want to, I encourage y'all, if you liked this particular recording, please go back and listen to it again. Please keep it, and put your point on the dial where the visualization starts, and do it as many times as you need to with as many people in your life as you need to. There's so much healing and expansion that can happen when we get in touch with our breath and when we decide to shift our perspective. Because sometimes the way we think we see things is not always what actually happened, but they are how we perceive things. So how do we get to a point where we can learn that sometimes perception has a deception to it? Just some thoughts to think with. All right, y'all. You know how to do it. We are down in the show notes or the comment section, and you will see all the ways to get the goods. I do love reading your comments and suggestions, so don't be shy. And with that, that's today's live show. If you want more, you can head over to the Mad Love Your Life show on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And lastly, head over to maryd.com to get more information on the Mad Love that's available for you. So until next time, may abundance always walk beside you. May joy always go before you, and may love always guide you on your path. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. We air live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Bold Brave TV. We hope to see you back next week. For more ways to connect with my guests, content, programs, and retreats, just head over to www.maryd.com and subscribe. That's MARYDEE.com.